Lee Furseth here from the Headwaters Science Center in Bemidji, Minnesota. There's a live audience today. Just want you to know, live audience, this is live stream. So, we don't always know how that turns out. If you happen to laugh at some point in the book, well, you would be in the live stream. Or, well, we won't go about the other things that you might do during a book, because you could dream them up yourself. The books come from the Bemidji Public Library. I go pick them out. They're all about dinosaurs today. So just before I read you the first book, there will be 3 books. You could prepare yourself for 3 books. They're relatively short. And the last one, I'm just going to read a couple of poems out of it. So there'll be 3 books. All of this will take about, I don't know, 25 minutes maybe. Before I do that, you should know our schedule. 9:30, 5 o'clock, Monday through Saturday, Sundays, 1 to 5. That means we're open every day of the week. You don't have to go, I wonder if the Science Center is open today. Because the answer will always be yes. Yes, it's open. But we do this kind of thing at 3:30 every day. But I do the reading. Now I usually read to Orion. Orion is the bunny. You guys might know the bunny here. Orion is not getting read to today. He's like, wait a minute. I got upstaged. We got upstaged by dinosaurs. Because the topic is dinosaurs. Orion is not interested in dinosaurs. Or maybe he's frightened of dinosaurs. I'm not exactly sure. You could ask him when you get down here. All right, the very first book is called Triceratops 3. Triceratops Tough. Okay, you're going to recognize the book. I'll just give you a little clue. You're going to recognize the book. I'll get in there a little ways and you'll go, wait a minute, this is a story I know. Only it's not about Triceratops. It's about goats. Okay. Okay, maybe you don't have it yet. Maybe you do. Here we go. The 3 Triceratops Tough. Once upon a time. The story starts with once upon a time and you're saying to yourselves, must be a... What kind of book? Must be a fairy tale. Once upon a time, 68 million years ago, there lived 3 Triceratops brothers. I'm sure this book is coming to you. You're going, wait a minute. But it's supposed to be about goats. Who went by the names of Tough. That would be Stanley Tough, Rufus Tough, and Bob Tough. Food grew scarce for everyone, so the Toughs set out to get more grub. Thanks for joining us. We have a live audience. It is now increased by 25%. They came upon a valley, and on the other side of the valley, there was lush vegetation. Plenty of it for everyone. Dinner is served, said Rufus. Not so fast, said Bob. For at the bottom of the valley stood a... Have you read this? Have you read this book before? Well, you are smart because you're way ahead on the story. This would be a T-Rex. You're welcome to join us if you wish. You can be in the audience. All right. What are we waiting for, said Stanley. Let's go get that grub. And he marched down the valley. Just so you know, this is the youngest of the 3 brothers. That's what's happening. Clippity-clop, clip-clop, clip-clop. Who's that clip-clopping through my valley, roared the T-Rex. My name is Tough, Stanley Tough, and I'm crossing this valley to get some grub. Not so fast, Stanley, said the T-Rex. Dinner is served to me, and you're it, said the T-Rex. But my bigger brother is on his way, said Stanley. He's much, much, much bigger than me, for someone as mighty as you. Then scram, squirt, said T-Rex, thinking himself quite lucky. Next came Rufus Tough. He headed down into the valley. Clip, clop, clip, clop, clip, clop. Who's that clip-clopping through my valley? Roared the T-Rex. The name is Tough. That's Rufus Tough. And I'm just following my little brother so I can get some grub. Not so fast, Rufus, said the T-Rex. Dinner is served, and you're it, said the T-Rex. But my biggest brother is on his way, said Rufus. He'll make a much better meal for someone as mighty as you. Then take a hike, half pint, said T-Rex, thinking himself even luckier than before. You got it yet? What is this story really? Yeah? Nope. About a Triceratops. It is. Next, Bob Tuff headed down into the valley. Clip, clomp, clip, clomp, clip, clomp. Must be how Triceratops sound when they're walking. Must be. Finally, roared the T-Rex. Dinner is served. Not so fast, Bob. I have a much better idea for someone as mighty as you, said Bob. Hit the road, Rex. Bob served the T-Rex such a mighty blow with his tail that he knocked him clear out of the valley, never to be seen again. And then, at last, dinner was served for everyone. That's the story. Thank you. Thank you. I read for applause. That's it. All right. How big were dinosaurs? Now I want you to know this is from the nonfiction side of the library. So this is somebody that did enough research to say how big were dinosaurs. Now I told you last week. Well, there are some that are really big. On the other hand, wait and find out. Last week, if you happened to be here on Wednesday, or if you happened to tune into the show, you saw I was reading out on the sidewalk. I was reading to the Junkosaurus, and I did a disclaimer. I don't know how to pronounce every single dinosaur's name. So if you happen to know, you could say it.
The biggest dinosaur in the dinosaur world is the T-Rex. Actually, I'm pretty sure.
I hate to tell you this. You can hang in there. The book's not going to agree with you. How big were dinosaurs?
Really big.
Stalking, running, stomping, crushing. When we think of dinosaurs, we think of huge monsters. But how big were dinosaurs really? Like this dinosaur, he is a Microraptor. The Microraptor was a deadly hunter, but he was about the same size as a modern-day chicken. The truth is, dinosaurs came in all sizes and all shapes. How about the Protoceratops? The Protoceratops had a very large skull. He had very heavy beak, which he used to rip out tough plants. They were strong and built for defense, but they were no bigger than a baby rhinoceros. Well, along comes, honestly, with a name like this, the Zenosaurus. I'm not sure Ryan knows that one either. Okay, we're gonna like stump the docent here.
Ankylosaurus.
Yeah. You'll think about this dinosaur as some huge big tree-eating giant. Nope. He stood about 2 feet tall, which is about the size of a emperor penguin. And that's where he lived, in the South Pole. Well, then there is the Velociraptor. The Velociraptor was a dinosaur that filled our imagination because it was a flesh-ripping claws and powerful jaws. It's actually about the size of a dog.
And that is a Velociraptor behind your right shoulder there.
Aha!
Which is much bigger than what they actually are.
Yeah, this is a bigger than it actually is. If you think about it, it's supposed to be the size of a dog. Thank you, Ryan.
Depends on how big the dog is.
Well, good point.
Like a
Good
golden
point.
retriever in the picture.
Shows a golden retriever in the picture. But how about the Stuthiomymus? The Stuthiomymus was the perfect size for racing. So it was about the size of a light horse, and it ran about the same as a horse, 35 miles per hour. Looks a little like an ostrich, doesn't it? Well, then there was the Ankylosaurus. It was a little taller than my SUV, and it weighed about 4 times as much, built to withstand attacks This guy was covered in armor, but he had this big bony club for a tail. You can imagine a traffic jam with a cranky Ankylosaurus. Well, along comes the Stegosaurus. Now, Stegosaurus weighed about the same amount as 3 cows. He had these bony plates on his back. Each one was about 3 feet long. Bigger isn't always smarter, though, because... All right, so what's the size of a walnut?
A little
Walnut's about the size of an OK sign. If you do an OK sign, that's about the size, yeah, ping pong ball. That's the size of his brain. Be thankful you don't have a brain the same size as him. Yours is way bigger.
and there's one on your left.
What?
Thanks, sir.
Wow, what a great audience. Thanks for being in the... There's one right there.
Again, not to scale.
Not to scale, because this guy would be bigger than that, right? About the size of 3 cows. At least he weighed about the same. All right, I have no idea how to pronounce this one, but I'll do my best. Like a giant unicorn, this is the Zenosaurus. It had a strange spiking thing growing right out of its skull. Now, we don't know what that was for, but with a dinosaur-sized appetite and hundreds of teeth, he probably would have gobbled up your garden for one meal. He had this thing sitting on top of his head. If you ask me, that's what he used to attract other ones. He thought that was pretty. All right, we are to the Taurosaurus. It might be named after my lawnmower. The Taurosaurus had a 10-foot skull and horns that grew as tall as a first grader. So his horns, let me read that whole thing over again because it doesn't make any sense. The Taurosaurus had a 10-foot skull and horns that grew as fast as a first grader. You wouldn't want to make this dinosaur do something he didn't want to do. We're still getting to the biggest dinosaur. It's coming. Hang in there. All right, how about this guy? Now, when I saw this one, I was thinking of that.
It's a Velociraptor. It's right by you.
This one? This Zenosaurus. He had claws that were 36 inches long. Think about 36 inches. Yeah, a yardstick. His claws were 36 inches
Like
long.
a full stick log.
Don't worry. He was a plant eater. He had 36-inch long claws and he was a plant eater.
They're super good.
They just use those claws for to attract them.
You want me to go back? When it's a live audience, we go back. Just so you know, out there in virtual land. Doesn't he?
The only herbivorous theropod, Zenosaurus.
The only
They're
one?
closely related to things like T-Rex, but they're herbivores. They're the only ones that are in that group that are herbivores.
Yeah.
T-Rex, there's one
T-Rex.
right behind you.
T-Rex has a skull nearly as long as a man is tall. The skull was the same size as a human being. He had strong jaw muscles that could crunch down 10 times the strength of an alligator, crocodile. And his teeth were 9 inches tall, each one. Size of his teeth. Exactly. But even the fierce Tyrannosaurus Rex was no match for the biggest and most enormous colossal giant of them all. All right, so we have a dinosaur
The
bigger.
Ankylosaurus is right behind you. Okay.
The Argentinosaurus. The Argentinosaurus is the largest of all of them. It was as long as 4 school buses. This dinosaur was probably the biggest animal that ever lived on the earth. A full-grown adult weighed more than 17 elephants. Thanks for that response. And Argentinosaurus was 45 times bigger than the smallest dinosaur, that Microraptor.
45,000 times.
Yeah. What did I say, 45?
You said 45.
Let's back up. Let's get it right. And Argentinosaurus was an incredible 45,000 times bigger than the Microraptor. But the largest dinosaur was only dangerous. to trees. That's all he ate was trees. You probably can.
And leaves.
Well, he says he ate the whole thing, tree and all, every bit of it. Thinking the leaf wouldn't have probably satisfied this one. Now, if you go to the library and you want to check this book out, this last page gets spread out across. It spends a little bit of time explaining how do we know that dinosaurs are actually those sizes. It spends a little bit of time talking about fossilization and calculating out the actual size. That's all right here. So you could go get that part yourself. I'll get it back to the library as fast as I can. Our last book is called Bones Poems. And it is a collection.
Is there like a tiger fossil over there? Like
Yeah.
Really, like a saber-tooth.
Yeah. This is Ryan right here. You could visit with Ryan about that a little bit as soon as we're done, because he did a show about that not too long ago.
Really?
Yeah, it was a 3:30 show. Didn't you? Or was that Carl? Might have been Carl. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, scientists, students, and teachers, this is a book about dinosaurs and other ancient creatures. This introduction wouldn't be too long. In fact, I'm not sure we need it, because who needs a poem about a book when all you have to do is sit down and read it? And one more, and then we'll call it quits for today. The Ankylosaurus.
Nope.
We don't have one of those, but there was one in the last book. All covered with armor, the Ankylosaurus moved with a clunk like a Clanklosaurus. He stood in a stream, so we could have called him Dranklosaurus, and looked like an old army Tanklosaurus. Of course, to be perfectly Franklosaurus, he had quite a low dino Ranklosaurus. His small mind was often a Blanklosaurus. His smell, sad to say, was that would be a Stanklosaurus. You'll probably think it's Stinklosaurus, but that wouldn't have rhymed, so it had to be Stanklosaurus. When down by the old river Banklosaurus, his younger brother's tail, he would Yanklosaurus, and this naughty dinosaur's Pranklosaurus might have caused his parents to give him a Spanklosaurus. We're almost done. Hang in there. Time passed in his high spirits Sanklosaurus, as dinosaurs' numbers all Shranklosaurus. So now I say goodbye and say Thanklosaurus, because that's all I know about Ankylosauruses. Thanks for tuning in today. That's it. We're going to call it quits. 3 dinosaurs books. That was enough. We'll pick a different topic when we head into next week.
What do we got coming up this week that's about dinosaurs?
Oh, yeah. What do we got coming up? What do we have coming up? Okay. Oh, hey, we have a very special event on Friday night. Thanks, Ryan. And there's still room open in this class. There's going to be a special class right around closing, 5 o'clock on Friday night, when one of our docents, educators, Carl, is going to spend the night showing you how to paint some dinosaurs. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. We do this every single day at 3:30, so tune in next time you are not here at the Science Center. Or if you are.